So if we were in Mexico, you guys would all be smashed together, because Mexican culture is that you actually like the other human beings around you and you're interested in them and you want to be with them. In America, we spread ourselves out. I don't really care one way or the other, except I'm going to have to work really hard to reach that person over there and that person over there. So I'm going to just give you an order. Everybody here, you're just going to compress until all the seats are filled. We're going to just pack into
We're gonna have to leave to go meet, so you'll have to. Yes.
Aaron, you're gonna be behind me. That one's yours. Don't worry, you have it.
I could be running right now that goes like this. Oh shit, they're not paying any attention to me. Look at all those eyes. I haven't prepared anything. I'm improvising this thing. What do I do? What if they get bored? That could be one set of thoughts running in my head. An alternative pathway would be, I know about DDF. I coached it for 10 years. I have some information that will be useful, particularly to beginners. I want to impart that information. And if a few people get bored, it's not the end of the world. If seniors nod off in the middle of this, that's fine. So I use public speaking skills just to compress you guys right there. You didn't know who I was, but I came in, I was confident, and said, we're going to do this, and we're really good herd animals, and we take orders, we want leadership, we want a leader. Here's the pitch for DDF, and my talk today is very basic, and it's largely intended for beginners, but not solely. I hope there's something in it for everybody. But particularly for beginners, I'm going to try to give you some tips about human behavior, human physiology, psychology, some really basic stuff that you can apply to any event you do and any situation. And the pitch for DDF is, and it'll sound corny, but this really prepares you more than anything you will do in high school. This is going to give you tools for success. And I'll just say, I've had a large number of kids who grew up, went through Haines High School, who I tried to recruit for DDF, who said instead, no, I'm going to do basketball. And I regretfully watched them go and play basketball for 4 years, who came back to me subsequently and said, unbidden, Danny, I shouldn't do DDF. So you're embarking on this thing that's going to make you a more effective human being. Hopefully it'll also make you a better human being, like a more humane human being. But that's kind of up to you. I'm going to give you some skills to survive this experience, particularly your early experiences. I'm a wildlife biologist, and so I watch wild animals very closely to see the cues. And there's great commonality between human beings and wild animals, much more than most people realize. And I watch ravens a lot because a lot of my work has to do with raven management. And I can tell when a raven is nervous. And here's what ravens don't like to do. They're paranoid. So they're looking at the sky for aerial predators constantly. And when there's a piece of food there, they sidle up to it and then boom, they nab it. They're afraid all the time. You're about to do something that's probably the most terrifying thing that human beings do, which is public speaking. All right? How many of you have been embarrassed in your life?
Everyone should raise their hand.
How many of you have died from it? Apparently zero. You died? What a way to go. Zombies! Supposedly, fear of public speaking outweighs fear of death. Because, and here's the biological explanation, Predators tend to have binocular vision, like we do, two eyes pointing forward, and two eyes locked on you is the signal that a predator gives that he or she is about to kill you, or is considering killing you. So, when you have an audience, you are reacting physiologically as if, in this case, it looks like about 50 predators, 50 potential predators, many of whom I don't know, are staring at me. That's a signal, physiologically, that they might come after me. And the same with, if you ever see people in conflict, what they do is they lock eyes, and the one that breaks contact first loses. So it's a dominance thing. It's very deeply wired into us. And so when you get up and you speak in front of people, it's natural to be afraid because you're responding to deep evolutionary roots. The good thing is this cerebral cortex of ours allows us to overcome our wiring. If we understand our wiring, we can compensate for it. I'm doing that right now. This is scary. This is scary, potentially getting embarrassed up here. Yes?
What's a cerebral?
Oh, cerebral cortex is what they call the higher center of the brain. It's where conscious thought is. So the lower parts of the brain are instinctual. The fear of having a bunch of people stare at you is an instinctual, they call it the reptilian brain. I don't like that terminology. But the higher brain is the one that we associate with consciousness. And you can compensate for your wiring by thinking your way through it. So, here's a couple of tips. An audience wants you to succeed. Even though at the start of a performance, they're staring at you, they're wondering what you're going to do, they're hoping you're going to entertain them. They want you to succeed. They're probably not going to whip out knives and disembowel you. Especially, if you give a lousy performance, you're probably not going to die from it. So go back to the embarrassment point. You will embarrass yourselves. All of you will be embarrassed by doing DDF. I'll guarantee that. Debaters get embarrassed all the time. But all of you will flub stuff. All of you will drop lines. All of you will get stuck. All of you will have bad performances. The trick is, use them to learn from. Don't let them get into your cerebrum and foul up your programming. Because you're going to program yourself to overcome your instinctual fear of this. And it's not difficult. There are some very easy, basic tricks. One is belly breathing. How many of you have ever heard of belly breathing? Fair number. And this is physiologically true. If you breathe, when you're scared, you breathe here. Your intercostal muscles are driving your breathing. And that actually feeds into your physiology and essentially triggers the fight or flight syndrome. If you breathe from here, and I'll teach you how to do it, at least so you know it conceptually. You have to feel it. But you have this sheet of tissue called the diaphragm. It's a muscle that you can draw down to pull air into your lungs. You breathe from the diaphragm, you will calm yourself down. You think you're breathing because you're scared, but it's a loop where because you're breathing like you're scared, you actually get more scared. You can unwire that, and particularly right before performance, take a couple of deep breaths. And if you flub it in the middle of a performance, take a deep breath. And here's how you do it. Just put your hands on your belly. All right? You want, how many of you have ever used belly breathing? A few. That's good. And teach everybody else how to do this. This is a heck of a trick. But it's just, make your belly big. Draw the air in by expanding your belly and drawing air in your lungs. It's a simple trick. It might seem silly. It works. Trust me, I've used it for 40 years. So, that's a good trick. Another one is to tell yourself before you go into a performance, they want me to succeed here. They're not out to see me fail. Think of it, you've all been in audiences. presumably in live audiences. A bunch of you have watched other DDF pieces. Unless you're really kind of twisted, you don't wish for anyone to completely fail. You may wish for somebody not to do as well as you do so that you win the prize. But unless you're pretty twisted, you want everybody to survive their performances and you want to be entertained. You sit in an HI round, you've got a killer HI, but you watch somebody else who makes you laugh. That's like good. And if you watch somebody who's struggling, particularly the older of you, help the younger ones. Tell them what you want. So I'm going to turn this into a conversation more than a monologue, because monologues are boring. First, any questions? I coached this for 10 years. Oh, I'll tell one story before we get into that. Yeah.
What's your name?
Oh, Tim Shields. I was a coach at Haines for 10 years. I actually coached Hannah Bocart, who's the coach of Haines.
I think I met someone in your family that their last name is also Shields. They have those two cars that sit right outside the house.
Could be, but I bet it's Fred Shields. That's, yeah, he's no kid of mine.
Do I have to cite you in my Monday speech because it's actually about fears and thoughts?
Yeah, you can say. Just say that I've watched thousands of performances, and all through like hundreds and hundreds of practice sessions, like thousands of practice sessions, thousands of performances, and here's how I applied it in my life. I have this idea for online conservation games where a person can operate a machine to do a conservation action remotely via the internet. It's a pretty revolutionary idea. It's going to work really well. It's technologically challenging. But when I first had this idea, I wanted to tell more people about it. So I was on a train, and a guy had a TEDx Berkeley t-shirt on. And this is also, I'm no longer very shy. So I said, oh, you got a TEDx t-shirt. Have you been to a TEDx talk? And he says, actually, I run one. So immediately I thought, okay, TEDx, Berkeley, it's probably going to be big, and it's an opportunity for me. So I start chatting him up and say, here's my idea, blah, 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 and I was pitching him. And he said, oh, it sounds interesting. I'll pass the idea along. I got accepted to the thing. I wedged myself in. They did not recruit me. I wedged myself in. And then I go to Berkeley, and I see the hall where I'm going to give this talk, and it is immense. It's just like I'm down on the stage. This was the day before I gave my talk. I'm down on the stage. There's going to be 2,500 people in that audience. It was intimidating. So prior to this, for 2 months, I had practiced speech twice a day minimum, and it was disciplined, and I rehearsed it till I didn't have to think about the words anymore. That's a really important point. It's just hammer on these things until they're in your brain so that you don't have to think about the next words. And there's a bunch of tricks for that. Maybe we'll get into that. So I had practiced it really well. I knew it, but I didn't know the space. And I go into the space, and it's immense, and it was intimidating. I spent about 4 or 5 hours in that space, just kind of absorbing it. And right at the end of the day, I started giving the talk. There were 5 people in there. I just went up on the stage and I started giving the talk. I practiced it in the space. There's no audience, and I was putting the words into the space. And there was an interruption. This was really good. There was an interruption, something noisy, or there was something going on, and I didn't break stride. Then I knew I had it. And then I walk into this thing, and there's 2,500 people, and the room feels really different. And you can feel an audience. You have incredible sensory channels to pull in information. And the reason to practice your thing so you don't have to think about the words anymore is then you can start to read the audience. And you start to see what's working, what isn't working. Who am I not reaching? Who am I reaching? How can I reach the people that I'm not reaching if I decide to try to reach them? All of this can go on if you've got your material wired. So it's up to you how much effort you put into this, but you will enjoy it more and you'll get more out of it if you practice with vigor. perform it as many times, your pieces as many times as possible, to as many different audiences as possible, particularly the other DDFers, because they'll understand what you're trying to get at. So use the resources around you, use your senses, get to the point where you can read an audience, and then it starts to be fun. This is actually kind of enjoyable. I'm doing okay, I'm feeling okay. But now we're going to have a conversation. So how many seniors are there? All right. Each senior is going to stand up and tell me a trick they use in some aspect of DDF, starting with you. Stand up. Face your audience. What do you do? A trick, a single trick.
What about just trying not to look at people sometimes? Just try not to take in their presence. Focus on the room.
So, selective view. Do you stare at them or not? Let them go. All right? Yeah.
First? No.
And project. Project to the far person.
Seniors, please.
Are you a freshman?
Now I'm sophomore.
All right, get up. You're that. Good. I'm no? Okay. Seniors only. Yes. A trick.
If I need help memorizing, I'll record myself saying my piece and then I listen to it on headphones. It helps me a lot.
That's excellent. You can do it while you're asleep too. This is the amazing thing about human consciousness. Is you can wire it into your brain while you're asleep. All right, another senior. You were a senior, right? Oh, yeah, go.
I use a different part of the stage and I associate each different part of the stage with a different part of my speech. So for one paragraph, I'll go to the left side, and then a different paragraph will go to the right side, so I know I'm thinking about that topic for that part of the stage.
So it's map out choreography. And they told me that in the TEDx talk. They put you on a dot, but they said they recommended that you use the entire dot. It's a big red dot, and they keep you on the dot for the purpose of filming you. But I did wander around the dot a lot. I also it was the first time ever an internet-connected rover was part of my talk. And I had 3 people operating this rover, and I had to, I'm watching this thing, and it was dicey. The thing could break. And so I had an entire alternative version. If the rover broke, I was going to make a joke about it. If it died on stage, I was going to make a joke about it. And then I had to go on. So, contingency planning. What do you do if you blow it? What do you do? That guy's a debate coach, and he'll be dealing with debate. Debate is total improvisation. Here's another thing to realize. You're acting all the time, and you're improvising most of the time. That's human existence. What DDF is formalizing what you're doing anyway. You're in a conversation. You're wondering, when should I jump in? What's my line? What am I going to say next? What's my reaction? How do I carry this line off to an audience of 4 friends versus 2,500 strangers? But that kind of stuff, once you get used to it, it's pretty easy to pull it up. Okay, another senior. You're a senior.
This is my first.
This is your first meet. Okay, yeah. Seniors who have done DDF is what I'm interested in. Others? Yep.
I know not a lot of y'all do this, but I tend to pray whenever I feel nervous.
Yeah. Yeah, use whatever form of calming you can. If there's an entity you draw on, or if it's your own internal core, or something undefined, that's part of the deep breathing as well. Pray if that works for you. Do what works for you. All right, any other seniors? Yeah.
So, I know this is easier said than done, but is to I'm trying to figure out how to make this. To kind of put yourself out there, and it's gonna be scary for a really long time. Mm-hmm. It took me 3 years to actually settle into DDF and get comfortable with everything, but putting yourself out there and getting out of your comfort zone gets you comfortable with being.
Try stuff. Experiment with stuff. If you think you're going to hate debate, Go ahead and give it a try just to see. You might love it. All right, any other seniors? Yeah.
This one's kind of silly, but our coach taught us this, is if you put a pen in your mouth and say your speech, you can over-enunciate your words.
Yes.
And so that helps you not like drop words as you're talking.
And that's another really good, and the idea of taping yourself is also really good because you know what you're trying to say. And I do a radio show here, and I taped myself one time. We have a thing called the community calendar. But I was saying community calendar. And I heard myself say community. And I go, the word isn't community, it's community. And so you're trying to communicate with people, and if you slur your words or swallow them unintentionally, you're dinging your ability to communicate with them. So careful enunciation is important. And depending on the size, here's another one. Go to the room early. Go to the room where you're going to give a performance early. And this sounds kind of woo-woo, but feel the room. Just feel what it's like. Listen to how you will absorb how the sound bounces around it. Because you can alter, like right now I'm projecting. I'm talking way louder than I would normally talk because I'm unamplified and I'm talking 50 people spread out over here. It would have been hell if they went all the way across this. So thank you for moving. So those are sort of some very basics. I want now, any more seniors? Is that it for seniors? How about juniors? I'll go down to juniors, but you have to be a DDF vet. Yeah.
I'm also a senior, but I'm still here. I know this is kind of like related to the anxiety part, but for like writing a speech, try to get someone to give you pointers on it who has actually no interest in your topic at all. Someone like who
Yes.
have no actual like you know, impression of it or no like base knowledge, because there's a good chance your judge has no knowledge about whatever topic you're going to be like. You know, try to make sure that anyone could understand your thing, and by that you have to get someone who doesn't understand it at all. Like see if it still works.
Right. Get fresh audiences constantly, and then interview them. It's like what worked, what didn't work. In that talk I gave to TEDx, with about 3 weeks to go, a friend of mine had a perfect insight, and I rewrote the speech, rearranged all the bits because of the insight of one other person, and I would not have seen this connection in the speech without that. So do it as many times as you can. Do it to as many, perform it for as many people as possible, and particularly take advantage of people who haven't heard it before and have no expertise. Don't get so into your own little bubble that you lose the perspective. Try to hear your talk or your piece from the perspective of a first-time hearer. Here's another tricky balancing act. You can over-rehearse and over-practice. If you under-practice, you're going to know it. Because you're going to go in and you'll drop your lines, you'll get lost, you'll get embarrassed. I've had team members of mine in early tournaments basically end up with tears because they're just pros. So I want to talk now about freezing, because everybody freezes. Going back to the vets, what happens when you freeze? What do you do? What do you do?
You make up whatever the next line is because the judge won't know that you forgot your lines.
Yes, that's one way. What do you need to know to get through a freeze? Yes, what you're talking about. If you understand the flow of your piece, if you just memorize the string of words, any glitch in that string is going to throw you off. If you know what you're talking about and you understand the sequence, you understand the pacing of whatever you're doing, whether it's a speech and debate or a DI or an HI or duet acting or whatever, if you understand the structure, then you can improvise around it, you can make up words until you get back on the track. It's just sort of like you've wandered off and there's this string of words there, and you know if you just get one word, you'll be back in it. groove. And so it's a question of working your way back in there. I froze on stage. I had this tiny part when my kid and her cohorts put on 12th Night by Shakespeare. It was this massive enterprise, and they were brilliant. And I played this Irish priest, and I had 2 lines, and I froze in the first line on the first night. And there's like 300 people in the audience, and I was just like, and I kind of stumbled through it, and it was embarrassing because these kids had memorized hundreds of lines and were flawlessly, delivering them. And I get up to my 2 lines and I freeze up. Here's another thing. You think your perception of time is going to be very different from what is actually happening, or from the perception of anyone else in the room. What feels like, oh my God, I've been frozen for 20 seconds, could be 2 seconds. So calm yourself with that thought. It's you will be your own worst critic, and you will be hyper vigilant and really amped up. Even if you do this physiology and the deep breathing, you're still going to be amped up. Your energy is going to be up here. And realize that alters your sense of time and also of how bad things are going. You will think they're going much worse than they really are. And you will be nervous for some performances, and somebody will come up to you and just say, God, you look great. You look so calm up there. Store those experiences, because you can fake this stuff too. You can get through it, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And like it's a human enterprise. That's what I love about DDF too. It's human. It's like live audiences. The screens are pretty sterile compared to this, and so use your opportunities to grow, because you are going to grow from this. There's no way you don't grow from conquering your fear, surviving embarrassment, learning tools. And okay, now I want a senior to tell me what his first performance ever was like. How did it feel? What was the piece? How did you do? And what's the contrast between that and now?
Oh man, I was doing an XCOM.
Stand up.
I was doing an XCOM in Metlakatla about fishermen. And I got through it by making it funny to myself to deal with my nerves. And I talked about how fish and fishermen are basically the same thing. They both are around the water. Honestly, it could have been better. And it was really short. And I liked what I did, but I could have committed to it a lot more. I was so caught up with the idea that I could be freaked out that I was afraid to really just go for it. And now I might have to have a heart attack in the piece I'm doing, and that I can't half commit that. So commitment.
Right, commitment is go ahead and go for it, because the worst that can happen is you die on stage. That's not death. That's just dying on stage. People die all the time on stage. In fact, he is going to die.
This is the second piece I have where I just flop over dead.
Yeah.
This happens too much.
Right. So, I don't know, is that enough? That's about what I've got. Any other tricks anybody have? Or any questions, particularly freshmen? Although you're probably, actually I should call them all freshmen, make them talk to you. In fact, I will do that.
I have a tip.
Stand up, turn around, face your audience, project.
Hi guys.
There you go. Enunciate.
Yeah. Just keep in mind that even if you do screw up, it's not the end of the world. Nobody's here to see you in trouble. Really?
Sure?
I hope
If they are, they're not worse than if that's their attitude. Okay, how many freshmen? Be honest. All right. Pick on him first. All right, freshmen are going to tell me what they're afraid of. In considering the not being swallowed by a giant squid. Although that would be entertaining. If you're afraid.
I'm kind of afraid of public speaking a tiny bit in the beginning, but as I go on, it smooths out. I get
course of giving a
In the
performance?
course of giving a performance,
Have you
just having
performed?
I've been in theater camp since I was like 5.
Okay.
So this is not new.
All right, it's not new. How about somebody who's a freshman for whom this is brand new? Anybody just like going straight into fear? You're a freshman, right? Yeah. Well, you got right. What are you afraid of, if you are? I do. All right, I'm going to do an observation here. What direction is his body pointing? You're not pointing at, this is your audience. I'm not your audience. So, that's an instinctual decision you made. And I'm not a hammer. It's just like I'm pointing something out. So, that actually is fear. And so, another thing to realize is you will try to talk yourself out of being afraid. I'm not, like, you should understand your fear, take it apart, conquer it, not paper it over. Okay. In the back. Okay, stand up. What are you afraid of? Letting the team down. Yeah, that's all right. Other freshmen? Yeah.
I'm scared, like in the middle of my speech, I'll start stuttering over all of my sentences and lose my general flow of the whole thing. I've done it before, and I was freaking so out.
Okay, we're gonna take that and we're gonna give this person tips on how to overcome that. Stuttering and falling apart. What do you do? What do you do? What have you done when it's happened?
Well, last year I had a presentation. I had to keep starting the sentence over and over again because I kept stuttering, and my brain resets the sentence. It's just hard to fix that error.
Yes. So, practice can get you through that. It's like, know your stuff cold. If it is a prepared piece, know it cold. And I don't have a lot of advice on that, but ask people what they would do in your circumstance, particularly if you freeze in front of people. Talk it over with them, and find somebody more experienced who's been through this, because everybody's been through basically some version of what you've been through. Like, I think it's just practice. It's just have the stuff so wired that you can get through it. Yeah.
One thing I have for like what you mentioned is like whenever that happens to me, a lot of the time something that'll help is either like saying or thinking something weird enough that it leaves my brain.
What's an example of that? Like weird enough, like you're shocking yourself out of, like you're stuck on this. And within the piece, you say something offbeat. Is that? Or think it. Okay. What you have to do is you have to know your own mind. You have to put yourself in these circumstances enough times that you recognize the danger points. Because I've also given talks that I haven't prepared for sufficiently, and and when you're giving a scientific talk and your thing falls apart and the slide projector, we used to have these things called slide projector, and the slide projector malfunctions and your slides are upside down. Weird, and that one fell apart. But I did. Huh?
That one fell apart literally.
Yeah, it fell apart literally, and I learned from it. I learned not to be casual because I thought I got this wired, blah 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 blah. Fight that own tendency in yourself, because particularly when you're further along in this and you get kind of cocky, watch out. Anything else? Yeah. Project.
How to maybe not forget walking.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what you're concerned about, forgetting blocking.
Yeah, and maybe wanting to change the piece
like right before you do it?
Don't do that. Don't do it. Go through, like, whatever you've practiced. Don't change 5 minutes before you go, oh, I got a better idea. Integrate that idea later on. Ideas blocking, forgetting blocking.
You're blocking. So when you're in the moment and you freeze you remember your line, but you physically freeze where it is that you're supposed to go. If you are in a scene with your scene partner, there's always a great idea if you guys kind of have a little signal, that means help. If you have just like an eye twitch or some way that you've planned ahead to let your scene partner know, I'm lost. And they may be able to help get you back into your rhythm. So as you're rehearsing, as you're practicing, if you start to notice moments where you always kind of get a little bit hung up or some new things that you've added, make sure that ahead of time with your scene partner, you have a little bit of a secret code, a little wink or a little gesture that you can use to signal your scene partner, I'm in crisis, help me. And they can hopefully guide you back on track. If you're by yourself and you are doing solo or something that's more physical and you totally forget where it was that you were going to go, don't worry about it. Listen to what you're saying. Listen to what your character is doing. And don't think about what you rehearsed. Think about logically what would my character do next.
And that has to do with knowing your piece to the point that if you get off track, you can still carry it on. Because you're telling a story. You're not delivering a string of words and preset robotic actions. You're telling a story. So just know the story. And another piece of advice, now we're getting into sort of technical details. If you over practice and you start to get bored with it, put a pen in your mouth and practice enunciation. If you're with a scene partner, switch roles. And that's actually a really good idea anyway, is so that you understand the other person's, what their character is saying. And so switch roles around, do it in a German accent, an English accent, Italian accent. Switch it up, play with it to keep it fresh. And there's also a point at which you stop practicing. Like, if you're getting bored with it, walk away from it, do something else for a while, come back to it, and it will be fresh, and you'll see new things in it. Always look for more depth into pieces. Here's another, this is like now sort of general advice about pieces. And this is, for me, more as an audience member. I love DIs that have a little bit of humor, and I love humorous pieces that have a serious moment, or at least a serious point. That is a richer experience. And it's not just the words on the paper. You can inject humor with physical actions, changes in voice, changes in pacing. Also vary the pacing unless the piece is intended to be monotonous. And there are some like that. There are some where it's just like the performance is you do not vary in pace, and the whole point is someone who's just a robot. Well, if it's not that, and most aren't, look for, how do I make this richer? You got to understand the character, and you and the character on the page are going to become a hybrid. You will bring your version of whatever the character will be a brand new creature. So explore that and be playful with this. So is this enough?
What do you guys think? Do you have
Is it
any
good
other
enough?
questions?
Any more questions?
You've got access to a brilliant mind. Anything you want to ask?
This is another thing with an audience. If they're done with you, stop talking.
If they forget everything you just said and want to take away one thing from you, what should that be?
I take the breathing. It's like breathing is absolutely fundamental. You will be breathing through everything you do. If you can learn to breathe, and I would practice this deep breathing and just feel yourself. You will calm down, and being calm is good. My TED Talk was on this idea and I'm very close to culminating the idea now. Online games. In this case, I work a lot with pest birds that respond to laser shots, and we have created a laser that's internet connected that allows the operator to be any internet distance from the actual action. So it's a first-person shooter for conservation purposes. It's a wild idea, and it's about to work. We're really excited.
Yeah. What's your favorite gun?
Duo interp. Duo interp is really interesting because you're not looking at, you're taking a scene and you're doing it separately. A really good duo is intriguing to me. Yeah.
Maybe I took good tips for pacing because I tend to because I'm when I talk normally I talk at the speed I think, but when I read a lot quicker than I think. So is there any way you can help? Do you think would be a good idea that helps slow me down?
Tape yourself. Get a video. There's so many freaking video cameras now. Every phone's a video camera. Videotape yourself and watch yourself and listen. And it's really good. I mean, that gives you this third-person perspective on what you're doing. And so you see yourself from the point of view of the audience. And listen not just to pacing, but enunciation, projection. Put the phone at the back of the room. Like, experiment with this. It's actually a pretty good idea. Is the phone at various distances from you and see how far can that thing be and how can you project, because you can talk down here and talk softly and you can draw the, or you can use this as a megaphone, as mouth as a megaphone, and project to the person farthest away in the room. That's what I would do.
What are the two lines you had to say in the act? Don't remember.
I remember phrasing, I don't remember the lines. If I was better at remembering things, I would have remembered the lines. I'm terrible at practice pieces. I'm much better than I want to be.
Where will we be
On the theater of movies. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know anything about the technical stuff. I'm just a hired guy. Okay, good.
Okay. It wasn't a question. It was like from earlier because you had asked for juniors, and I wanted to say like a tip.
Stand up. Share with the audience.
For like me personally, depending on like what it is you're doing, for something like a speech, put like not like the actual speech, but like in your head or as you're like reading it in your mind, have like a sort of songy or like rhythm to it, that like a rhythm. So when you say the words, you think of, or like think of that rhythm, and you think of the words sort of like a song.
Yep.
So you know what to say next.
Mm-hmm.
Or like if it's like, I don't know, a duo or something, and you just can't remember your lines, or like a solo or anything like that, have someone else do it really badly enough to where you get mad they're doing it wrong. Like you correct them,
That's
and
good.
then you memorize it.
And you know yourself. That's also good. All right, a couple of points. The music of spoken word. Our voices are very musical. I could talk very flat with no inflection, or I could really juice it up and change the pacing and go fast, and then pause, go slow. I can whisper to draw you in, or I can shout at you to drive you away. So one other question. The interaction with your brother, what was that? That was interesting.
I had my hand raised for a long time.
Oh, and I didn't
and
see
he
it.
always went past me, so then he just went like, and I was like, oh my gosh.
All right, what adaptation could you have made, if you cared enough? How else could you have signaled me?
I could have probably been like,
Yes, right. Make yourself visible. Anything else? Yeah.
how was your day?
My day was great. I rode my bike here. It's really good. It's beautiful. What bike is it? What? What kind of bike you got? There's this famous thing where middle-aged men buy a red sports car. I have a red bicycle. I bought this red bicycle when I was about 55, and it's very fast and light and fun. Very fun. Really fun to ride. All right. This will sound corny and maudlin and all that kind of stuff, but the DDF community is really magical. Particularly, do you guys still house out at other people's houses? Does that still happen?
Not anymore.
Oh, that's too bad. because that was cool. But at any rate, here you are, your community. Yes, it's supposed to be competition, but the real point is to learn these skills and apply them for the rest of your life. And so what we do is we dangle little prizes in front of you to make you compete. And it's fun. That part is fine too, and it's fun. It's fun to win. It's not that big a deal to not win, because you all will be winning by participating in this. In fact, the team people I'm proudest of having taught never really won many events or anything, but they came in catatonically afraid to be in public or to talk. And I really admired these kids for like recognizing that this could help. And I worked with them a lot, and they ended up being much better in social situations because of it. I was really proud of that because I helped the hams come in here, and it's just like, yeah, they're fun to work with, but they've got it anyway. So those of you who are hams, help the ones that are struggling, help them when they struggle, talk to them, teach them what you know. But then the freshmen, you've got a unique perspective as well. And if you see some senior blowing it, tell them they're blowing it. Be fearless. All right, good enough?
Absolutely. Well,
All right.
before everything goes, I would like to say a massive, massive thank you to Tim Shields. Relatively last minute to come in here and help you all. He was my coach for 4 years. He's who really helped shape a large portion of who I am today. So you'll be seeing more of him later on this weekend, but thank you so much, Tim, for coming in.
All right.
All right. Okay, so we all have a little bit of a break right now. We will be having don't leave yet, I have things to say. We will be moving the debate workshop from here to the library. Those of you who are not attending the debate workshop, we will have theater games happening in here. We have a couple rounds of free for anyone who wants to come join. This is your opportunity to eat some food. We've got a bake sale happening right outside these doors with delicious things just for you. And yeah, library at 6 for debate workshop. 6 in here.
One last thing. Melicala and Juneau, there is pizza out there for you guys. Please note what the pizza boxes are. Some pizza is not for everybody, other pizza is, okay? Juneau kids should know what I'm talking about. All right, you may go.
All right. Woo.